You got the drill then?
Which number comes first? Like 125 or 120? Like in the equation. Would be 120 minus
The consumer
125.
price index changes from 120 to 125.
Like 125.
So 125 would be the good.
So it'd be 125 minus 120.
Yeah. Dan, are you on topic? What?
Yeah.
I believe you.
I can answer the drill.
All right, let's go, Will. You want to answer it?
Alright, so I did 125 minus 120, which got me 5 over 120. Okay.
So that's 5 over 120.
Yep. And then I divided that and got like 0.04 and a bunch of numbers. And then I times that by 100 and I got 4.2. So the answer is A.
We're good. Anytime you see the inflation rate, it's going to be year 2 over year 1, or new minus old over old, whichever one you prefer, times 100. Any questions on this? Tony, you're looking inquisitive, so do you have a question? Or? The answer is it. Okay.
I think that's right.
Okay.
I did that version.
Everyone else good? Peter?
Let us remember that we're believe in God, the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Dear God, please bless us today to learn a lot. Please bless us this weekend to have lots of fun, to reset and relax, and also to be saved. Amen. So John Baptist go to the south.
Pray for us. Forever. Thank you. Are you rooting for snow, Peter?
I am.
Okay. All right. Here's the rate. Here's what I'm. See, last year, because we did it on full everything, because we were virtual or whatever we did last year. It's amazing that the scores are better this year than compared to last year.
Hey.
So I guess virtual learning wasn't that great. All right. Someone asked me to review the business cycle. The only thing that I would say you really need to know in the business cycle is, one, it's historical. They can't predict when the cycles will happen. And 2, at peak, high inflation, low unemployment, and then in the trough, low inflation, high unemployment. All right, how did they find the 300 goods for the basket and the 300 most purchased goods? Okay, so if you're purchasing, if staplers are one of the 300 most purchased goods, it ends up, yeah. So you take yours out.
Dude, come on.
Yeah, you know why yours isn't in there? And because you put the wrong section.
Oh.
With the wrong section. So I have, but you know what you got, right? And you redid it anyway, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, then the next thing is lender versus borrower. And I think they're wanting to know for inflation. The lender gets hurt in inflation because they're getting paid back with dollars that have lower purchasing power. And the borrower is helped because the borrower is paying back with dollars that buy less, so they're paying back with cheaper dollars. So I think that was it. Any questions on those? All right. All right. So next week, Monday, chapter 24, quiz Tuesday. We're definitely not going to have that unit test on Thursday.
Yes.
Okay. It might be Friday, but it won't be Thursday.
What a relief.
Okay.
Just on, wait, only on 2 chapters? 3 chapters?
Three.
Should be 23, 24, and 28, but we're not getting to 28. Yeah, just for this first unit. Okay. And then we're done. Well, not done. We'll see. But we'll go back to the 85. I'm glad that you're wearing a mask, so I can't see the grimace or the disgust in your face.
You can see the drive,
Yes, you can. Hey, it doesn't have to do them. I'm not gonna come and like shoot you or something. All right, where did we get to on this yesterday?
We did like a couple
Did we do the GDP deflator?
We have that entire thing filled out. We just need the inflation rate.
All right, so all we have to do is the inflation rate column.
Yes, sir.
All right, so here's how I want you to do it. Year 2 to year 1, year 3 to year 2, year 4 to year 3, and year 5 to year 4. Okay? So I don't want you to pick like 1 year.
And we just got rid of the first one, right?
Yeah.
Wait, so what would be?
This is an amazing feat. And we feel like 15 minutes ago and you're late.
Wait, so
We're just on time.
are we using the GDP deflator for the inflation rate? Like, would it be 125 minus 100?
Yeah, yeah.
There
Was this the first one or the second one?
Yeah. Wait, what would be? Would it always be minus 100?
No,
No.
because it's year 3 minus year 2, and then year 4 minus year 3.
So it'd be.
So we're not going against the base year every year.
It'd be year 3 minus year 2.
Correct.
Is it over, old, or over new?
You minus all of it.
And number 3 is. I'm so stupid. Oh my God.
I just kind of looked at it. 120, 125, yeah, that's 5%.
Well done. Huh? All right, who's gonna, did we do year 2 or no? What was it? Did we do year 3? All right. divide over 125. 20%. Okay. Who's got, year 4? So it should be 200 minus 150 over 150, and you get 1,000, right? And you said 33, right, John? Yep. Okay. Who's got year 4? Well, 100. So it could be negative. So here we're going to get deflation, right? Okay. All right. Any questions? Yes.
Can you explain disinflation again?
Yes. It'd be my pleasure. So disinflation would be here we had here we had like a 33% increase in inflation, right? Disinflation would be in this year if we had like a 25%. So prices went up, but not as rapidly as before.
Okay, so it went up, but it went less than the
Correct.
previous period.
Yes.
Okay.
So to slow down of inflation. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then we get right back. Yeah.
I didn't look at it. I just assumed he was right.
You got the. That's crazy. You have the ball there.
I was almost right. It's just like a couple words off.
Okay. I think that's it. What's the first thing on your thing?
Practice. GDP Deflator year 3 is basically.
Is it?
Yeah.
Close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes.
Here we go. This.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
Here we go.
Will this be like a problem on the test?
Yeah. So what it would be like is
Fill in
the nominal GDP was 40, the real GDP was 60. What is the GDP before?
Okay. For real GDP, it's the quantity of the current year, not the base year. It's the price of the base
Say
year.
that again. Okay.
For real GDP, to find it, it's the quantity of the current year.
Quantity of the current year times the base year price.
Yeah, okay, got it. Thank you.
All right. All right. Lorenzo, how you doing on the first one? All right, tell me how I would set it up. What's the nominal? Okay. Over real is. Okay, and that comes out to. Okay, and that will be what percent? Yeah. Okay, so either way you got it, it'll be 66.7, right? Okay, this price, yes,
We're not using year 3 as the base year.
we are, but do you need it?
Give us all.
You see, I gave it to you, right, by figuring out real. You didn't need it for the GDP deflator. The GDP deflator is just nominal over real.
Okay.
You needed the base year will to get like times 6 to get all these. So here you got 10 times 6 got 6. Okay. All right. Who's got number 2?
I got 80.3.
Okay. That's 50. Right. So that comes out to 80.3. 83. Okay. All right. Who's got the third? Peter?
90 was 90 times 100.
All right. So do you even have to figure that one out, Peter?
No, it's base year.
It's the base year, right? So we know it's 100. Okay. Dan?
Next one is 160 or 140, which comes up to 430, 133.
All right, so we went from deflation now to inflation. And you got the last one? Have 100. And that's go right back to where we started, right? Okay, any questions on any of these? We're all good?
Is like the jump from 4 to 5, is that deflation or disinflation?
Well, it's deflation because you're under 100.
All right.
Okay. Like if it would be disinflation, because disinflation is rising prices.
Yeah.
So prices are still above, like, you're still having inflation. Peter?
Should we always just throw like 1 decimal on, or should we just like round to the whole number, or like?
I think you could go to the whole number if you really want. Okay. Okay. All right, just some differences between CPI and GDP deflator. One is an increase in the price of goods that comes from government will show up in the GDP deflator. I think I said this the other day. Like when the government buys tanks, that's going to show up in the GDP deflator, but it really doesn't impact people like us as consumers. I know, Mr. Owens, you have a tank in your backyard, but the rest of us don't commonly go out and buy tanks. All right, and then again, the GDP deflator only thinks about goods made in the United States. All right, so a lot of us buy foreign cars, for example. That doesn't show up in the GDP deflator, but because it's one of the top 300 goods purchased, it will show up in the CPI index. Okay, and there's we know that probably. So we're good there. All right, quick 1 minute here. Yes, sir, sorry.
So what if a foreign car is assembled in the factory in the US? That counts as GDP, right?
So first it counts as GDP. Yes, and if it's one of the top 300 selling things, it'll count in the CPI basket. Okay. All right, you got a minute. Oh, well.
Is it D?
Miles, you going with D? You going with D? Dan saying,
I
okay.
like dogwood.
All right, dogwood, making,
Dogwood.
all right. Just take a quick poll. How many people got A as an alpha? B as in broccoli? C as in Caroline? You got one guy. Two. Three. You're already jumping for dogwood, right? D as in dogwood? E as in Ellen? All right, Dan, could you explain why you think D as in dogwood is correct? Yeah.
Well, I mean, all the other ones are wrong, and then the magic of the belief is that debtors, they have to, let's say, pay to your your loan is like $500 one year, and then next year it inflates, so you still have to pay $500. That $500 is for the bonus. Better for them than the creditors who they would just be.
They're paying with less valuable dollars that purchase less. Right. Any questions on either of these? All right. All right. A is an alpha. B as in broccoli. C as in Caroline. D as in dogwood. Dogwood getting a little low. E as in Ellen. Peter. When your choice.
Yes, CPI, like GDP measures which produce and CPI measures the spending of all consumers, so.
So you feel it's all consumers.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, D as in dogwood. Miles, what?
I was thinking of the two things that.
But it's a CPI, all goods and services produced in an economy. Okay. All right, who wants to go with E as an element?
CPI involves the market basket, and to find that, it's the sum of the cost of all the goods or the top 300. So if you took one CPI from 1 year and it was CPI for the next, and it changes, it would clearly a cost change based on inflation in that market.
Okay, so it's just a change in that market,
Basket, yeah.
change of the market basket, not consumer spending, right?
Yeah, because they can buy goods that aren't included in that basket.
Yeah. So E as in Ellen is correct. Does that make sense to you, Peter?
Yeah,
Yeah. You guess or yes?
yeah, well, I don't know, the definition in here says it measures prices globally because it's bought by consumers.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it doesn't track the past.
Right.
How it is tracked the past.
Well, because they use the 300 goods, right? So that's.
Yeah, but I think here, spending patterns of all consumers. Let's just say you don't buy anything in that market basket. which is possible, right? Then B would be wrong just on that, right? And the big thing is, I think Justin said, the CPI is really, that market basket stays solid. So if that basket now costs more money the next year, then it's inflation. You know what I mean? Like that basket doesn't change. And it really doesn't matter if people like don't buy all the things in the basket, they're just measuring that basket. And does the price go up or down?
You said something earlier about the basket being about foreign items.
Foreign items can be in the basket.
Oh, okay, so it's not only foreign.
No, no. With a GDP deflator, it's only goods made in the United States.
But you can have like Toyota.
Correct. Okay. All right. All right. Want to give you a couple of minutes. I don't mind if you want to tag team and work with people, work your way through it. This is kind of a typical maybe FRQ on this topic. So again, I'll give you a couple of minutes. You can work through it with, you could talk to each other, you can do it individually. It might be easier to see up here. Yours, I think, is a little small. Whatever.
Would you calculate all of them? So yeah, multiply price times quantity. For each of them is an animal.
Yes.
I might be mistaken, but I think we're missing information from number two, or like from B.
No, there's a way. Okay. I think it's a GDP deflator formula, and I think you could plug that in.
We think of the other formula. Y squared minus one.
Which one?
B is one.
Inflation, right? Whenever you see inflation, year two minus year one.
Yeah, what are the different?
So. If you're comparing this year, 150 to new.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much you got? Good. Good, sir. What did you say? You got one?
The base year for the price. So I'm not supposed to work with that. So if you are yeah. What does that come up with? Yeah. That's what they want. It is. Equal to nominal, right? Over X.
Johnson's out 20 raise.
John Wright, funny, oh, well.
It's more like,
I can do this, Mr. Brewster. Yeah, this is easy stuff.
All right. All right. Who could get me calculate this year's nominal first one? Who's got this? Go, Mr. Owens.
For bread, it's 2,400.
Okay.
For water, it's 2,000. Fruit, it's 1,600.
So the total would be for the nominal.
6,000.
All right, the nominal is 6,000. All right. Assume that Gallus GDP deflator, the base year's 100, this year's 150, the inflation rate would be. All right, just walk me through the math, please. Okay, so this would be like year 2, right? Minus 100, which is year 1, over 100, and then you got 50 over 100. You get, right? Okay, thank you. Now, I thought like this one was the tricky one. This year's real GDP. Cameron?
I got 4,000.
Okay, could you explain how?
Well, I set up my equation like to solve for GDP deflator like a number would.
All right, so GDP deflator is nominal over real times 100. So then what did you do?
Well, I made real X. And then I reworked my equation so that
You know nominal is?
that X equals nominal over GDP deflator.
Okay.
And
What
then,
is the GDP deflator? We got that at what?
150.
Okay. And then you just solve for X, right?
Yeah.
And you got X equals
4,000.
4,000.
I got 40. 40 times 100.
You forgot the times 100.
Oh, yeah.
Forgot about that.
And if you look at it, Dan, so say you put 40 here, right? 6,000 over 40 would get you 150, right? Just to check your work. All right, any questions on this one? Okay. All right, Aiden, were you able to, since the base year workers received a 20% increase in their nominal wages, or first, are they better off? Justin?
I think it would be worse off.
Why is that?
Since inflation is 50%, all the prices would go up 50%, but they're only making 20% more, so they're down about 30%.
So their real wages decreased by 30%. Okay. And the real wages would be nominal minus inflation. And it just said like the nominal increase was 20% and it would be minus the 50, so it would be minus 30. Okay. If GDP deflator in gallon land increases unexpectedly, would a borrower with a fixed interest rate loan be better off or worse off? Will, better, and we talked about that, right, paying cheaper dollars. Any questions on the effort?
So that's going off the fact that, the deflator is 150, right? Because wouldn't it, be deflation if it was per se 50 and then it increases unexpectedly to like 75?
I mean, wouldn't it be disinflation?
Well, it's deflation if the deflator is under 100, right?
Yeah, but
If it started out below 100 and then stayed below 100, but increased, say, from 50 to 75, it would still be inflation, right?
yeah, but they're saying the GDP deflator, which they gave you as 150,
Yeah,
right?
no, I was just.
Oh, if you're saying that they give you nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah, then you're good. Yeah. Okay, any questions on any of these? Yeah.
So what was the final answer for C?
The wage would be, you'd be worse off, because even though you got a 20% raise in your paycheck, inflation was 50%, so real wages are negative 30. So real wages are nominal minus inflation. Huh? Any other questions? All right, one last thing for the day. Let's just go over these terms with the person next to you. See how we go. See what we know. Go. Did you hear a little buzz?
Make more money.
Even more money.
No, that's not true.
Productivity, combined inflation, yeah. Market basket's like what they're gonna buy, like, goods and services. Yeah. How do you calculate CPI? I don't know. Yeah. How do you calculate CPI? Yeah.
How much was no either?
Oh, Mr. Bresson, how do you calculate CPI? How do you calculate CPI?
It's current market basket over base year times 100.
I'm asking what the CPI.
All right, it's current market basket over base year times 100. All right, what does the CPI 130 mean?
Oh, yeah. CPI.
The only thing you can say,
What's the
This isn't CPI 130.
value?
but they could say 130.
Great.
I'm
pretty sure it's like less money.
Yeah, you can say.
I thought it was Nigeria. Zimbabwe.
Yeah, sometimes at a base year, who's helped to hurt by inflation? Borrowers are hurt, fixed incomes are hurt.
All right, Guys, is there anything up there besides V9, besides Nintendo games you did not know? Yes. I would say if 130 means there's a 30% inflation rate compared to the base year, if the base year has to be 100. Current 5 is current basket over base year basket times 100. Anything else? 4, nominal interest, and we really didn't do this yet, we'll do that Monday, is the interest the bank gives you. Real interest is, is it better than the inflation rate? We'll do that Monday, and you'll understand it'll be easy Monday. Any other questions? All right, have a great weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Russell.
Yeah, we better get out early. We better get out early today.